what is a superstition you firmly believe in? This is the first one I've seen in a while that had nothing to do with epilepsy. I don't believe in superstitions. I can't. Nothing comes to mind at this moment to say I agree. So,
Superstitions.
it says firmly believe in. I'll move on. We'll come back to it. It says, I think epilepsy is the best thing that ever happened to me. I've struggled with anxiety my whole life, but it got a lot worse last summer, leading up to and then continuing after my wedding. I had thought that if it was wedding anxiety, it would go away in the months afterwards, but it kept getting worse. Started therapy, eventually started Zoloft. Helped a lot, but not 100%. First and only seizure happened this January, but they found that I have a heterotopic, poorly developed area in my brain that makes me significantly more likely to have more. So I was diagnosed with epilepsy, and I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life. I just weaned off of Keppra, and I'm steady at it. I'm at a steady state on Lamictal, which will be a long-term med unless anything changes. My neuro told me that Lamictal is also used for bipolar disorder, so it will likely help my mental health as well. And oh my God, did it ever. The combination of Lamictal and Zoloft makes me feel like I never had anxiety at all, and I feel more normal than ever have ever been in my life. My partner and I have known each other for 13 years, but I think this might honestly be the happiest we've ever been.
Yeah, God bless them. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now just hopefully no long-term side effects.
Yeah.
I think epilepsy saved my life too. I think I would have been like a street racer or something.
Yeah.
I always think of that. Like I would have been doing something I'm not supposed to be doing with epilepsy. Probably would have led to something bad. Like I said, I always wanted to street race, like watching Fast and the Furious. And I probably would have did that if I could drive. Definitely.
Oh, that's such nonsense, all of that. Would you rather die doing what you love or die on the couch?
Yeah.
I think
if we're gonna be honest, I mean,
those of us that were diagnosed young turned out to be different.
Yeah.
You were never worried about driving once you got it when you were young. You was like,
I saw the reports. I did see them like read me, and they strongly like talked against me driving and stuff. And but
I
it was
just wasn't
something I
allowed to
wanted
let
to
my
do.
family know how pissed off I was.
Yeah.
After
It's
my
like,
license
you
was
wanna
taken away,
rebel.
I was definitely upset.
Yeah.
Did they take your
Mad
license
about
like right after
any
you were
sense
diagnosed?
of independence.
Huh?
I was in 3 little fender benders before they actually took my license, because the first 2 didn't press charges. There was that like kind of famous story they love telling about where I like waved at them on the way out and drove to my old house. Yeah, leaving work, I drove a couple miles out of the way and went to the old apartments, and then decided to make the call and maybe admit that something happened, but I'll be home in a few. Sorry, I'll be late. And then the one after that was like the following year, and yeah, I couldn't deny it anymore. They had to take the license. But that's when I was also really pissed off and couldn't tell my family. What'd you say?
As soon as I was diagnosed at 16, they said, we're going to take your license. So I just never tried, and then tried driving here and there, and then it didn't end well.
Oh, so you didn't even get to have it for a minute.
Nah, I I got a permit. You know, the little driver thing you take at school. It's like
Yeah,
paperwork, basically, never driving.
Yeah.
I got that
I got
much.
diagnosed at 14, and I think around. I'm trying to remember. I think it was around 2000 ish. It's somewhere where I went 3 years. It was on the Depakote. I went 3 years seizure free, but then a breakthrough happened, and I was like, "Nope, I'm not doing it."
I mean,
I
aside
don't,
from
I don't,
driving,
I don't get auras, or I don't get anything. So it's like I'm not gonna drive because it wasn't even about me. It was like I'm worried about other people.
Right. Me too. Go ahead, Kevin.
it just seems like people who are diagnosed young, do you feel like you took less chances or risks in your life? Because not like extraordinary risks, like I don't know, risking your life. It just seems like, do you think more of your decisions were based around your disability more as what you would do, uh like you had to stay grounded because of your health, you know?
I can
Uh,
answer that one. Uh,
okay.
it's like, so when I was diagnosed with epilepsy, I was told I had epilepsy. I met a neurologist. He gave me pills, and I just went about my life. Just at that time, there was like no education about it. No one knew anything about it. It was just like, you have epilepsy, you're gonna have seizures. No one ever looked into anything that happened after I left the hospital, paperwork, none of that. It was just, you have epilepsy, and no one was educated at all. So I just went about my life like regular high school kid. I joined a gang. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'm
just
understanding that my family did the same thing. You know, we still went to Sunfest and all the concerts in Palm Beach and, you know, all those things that obviously were triggers for me, you know, being dehydration and like long sun exposure that I know caused seizures now. When I was diagnosed in high school, family still did it all together. You know, we would walk into the festival and then go off into our own little groups and check in every couple hours, and that just stopped once we had one, you know, worst case scenario, once I started having seizures in these places and figuring out that triggers are something that need to be addressed once you're diagnosed. And that, like you said, just no education.
I think, to be honest, I think
Yeah, there wasn't
uh,
info back in the early 2000s and 90s for us.
yeah, I think for mine, people only started really getting worried about it because it started happening more. So then you like had to pay attention to it. Uh, yeah, it was like there was a long time where I was just like in the streets, just like doing high school stuff and joining gangs and stuff, running the streets, and no one was ever like, "You have seizures, you shouldn't do that." It was just I was just doing high school stuff.
I was the
Uh,
If
op.
anything, you probably got respect. You probably got more street cred because it was more risky.
uh, Unfortunately, not. That
Okay,
I
was not
okay.
the
got the
case.
opposite. It's like, you got seizures because of this. You got seizures because of that.
Oh,
It's like
not
I
knowing the
don't think.
cause
everything
is the
because of the
worst.
seizures.
I think when
I'm like,
I had seizures, like in front of those crowds, I don't think anybody called the ambulance. I just kind of survived through it and got up and went about my day. Um, yeah, luckily I'm here now, but yeah, like I said, back then there was no education for it. Like no one knew anything about it. No one cared to know anything about it. I think it was just like, he has epilepsy, he has seizures. That's what
yeah,
it is. He has epilepsy and he has seizures.
End of the
it was
conversation.
Yeah, into the conversation.
all your doctor's word, and that's it. And God forbid you get like a doctor that's like ants, and I'm sorry.
God, yes.
Right.
You know, like if we would have gotten that, where would we be?
Do you ever does anybody think knowing the cause of your seizures ever led to better treatment, or
I
versus
don't
not
think
knowing?
so. I think because mine, like my neurologist, like I didn't know I had encephalomalacia, which is like soft brain tissue on the side, until the emergency room told me that, and I was like, okay. They was like, talk to your doctor because you do have it. So I'm in panic. I'm crying. I'm tripping at home. Like, what's going on? This is something new. I'm thinking this is something new. And then I tell him, and he's like, yeah, you've been had that. That's the reason you have epilepsy. And I'm like, so I did not know this is why I'm having epilepsy. I didn't even know that was why I was having seizures. I was just told you have epilepsy. Nobody ever, the doctor, the neurologist, he never said you have encephalomalacia. The emergency room told me that. And that was 3 years ago. And that would be 17 years in, basically. And
Wow.
yeah, I
I
didn't find
just
out
don't.
about that. Like I said, no one pointed it out ever. Was told you have epilepsy, you got in a car accident, you got hurt when you were a kid. That's it. But the encephalomalacia, I never heard that word until 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
it
don't
I
does
even
seem like
have
a
think
pretty common
my
I was
occurrence.
even told what caused my seizures. I don't even know. You know, there's like my mom tells me this, a story this time, and then a story that time, and that could be, the cause. And it's like, but I don't even know what causes my seizures. They know where it starts, but not the original cause. Like my
friends are
seizures
ridiculous.
start on the left side right here, and then it bounces.
I was never
Sorry,
even
I
told about
interrupted you,
that.
Reese. What did you say?
I was gonna say I have my cyst, but they don't even treat it as though my cyst is the cause of my epilepsy. My neurological team works with the how do they even define themselves? Well, the
Some other specialists.
some other specialists. The neurological team works with the people who do the surgeries.
Right.
And they work separately and they treat it separately. So they work as though the cyst is exacerbating the epilepsy, but they work as though it's separate. So it's like the cyst is there growing, making the epilepsy worse. I don't know. That's how they treat it.
I have such a hard time not comparing medical treatment to sales tactics. They
Yeah.
try to just always give you the bottom line as like the bright side, have this surgery, take these trips, do these tests. In 4 years, you will have no more seizures and beyond, no medications. Yeah, 6 years later, not the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I was just sitting here thinking right now is like, since I didn't know about this, I was thinking maybe my mom knew because I was a kid. So maybe the doctor didn't tell me in particular. I'm thinking maybe he told her, but me just finding out about it, like I said, when I just found out about it 3 years ago, I was in panic. I was like, something's going on. My doctor doesn't know. I got something that just happened, but it didn't just happen. He told me it happened years ago, and I was just unaware that that's what I was going through, and that was the reason.
Yeah, most of us are unaware of what's going on. So,
I would just be so intimidated by hearing the soft brain tissue thing that like anything that makes me think I'm gonna have to wear a helmet. I then it's gonna be more obvious that I have a disability, and I'll that's just like really intimidating to me.
Yeah, I never thought of that. A few people, they joked around like you should wear a helmet, but I just don't ride bikes or do anything that I would need a helmet for in particular. Um, yeah, I don't need a helmet.
Yeah, I can get away from the, ATVs and mountain biking and all that. I'll just be the one hanging back, walking the dog, and as long as you don't wear a helmet, I'll shut up now and be happy about that.
I got something that says on not driving. My brother picked me up from work today on his way home from the gym. I waited inside my workplace because of the weather. I text my brother to tell him to let me know when he got there and I'd be right out. And I was. I put my bags in the back seat. I work in a store and did get some exchanges after work. And he was like, get in. Look, it's already kind of an inconvenience that I have to come pick you up. Oh, man. But it's annoying when you wait inside. I think you should be waiting outside. That's what I'd do. I'd wait outside and then I'd come and get in the car and smile and say, thanks so much for picking me up. Wow. Uh, he's been picking me up for a year now and is about to leave for more schooling. So I understand that he's sick of it, but damn, I'm not gonna let that ruin my day. But this upset me, and I might have overreacted. I said, "Wow, I'm so sorry for being such a massive inconvenience. My work is 5 minutes from home. Is it that horrible to come pick me up?" He was already out anyway. I'm tired. I've been talking in a customer service voice all day. Maybe it's not about you. Maybe I just don't want to chat it up. Maybe I'm stressed over problems you'll never think about in your entire life because you're the healthiest person I've ever met. Why are people so unempathetic?
Yeah, that just sounds like total lack of manners, no consideration.
Yeah, and it's her brother, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brothers. Yeah. I'm glad we're 3,000 miles apart.
I have a
I'm
sister that
That says enough. That says it all.
I have one sister that I'm for sure. If I call her and I tell her I got some money, come get me, she'll come get me from anywhere.
Yeah, my cousin will drive me like anywhere. My sister, the last job that I held physically, she worked there once and she would like pick me up and drive me home. That's something not even my wife did. It's like,
Yeah, my oldest sister, she'll be like, "You got some gas money?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm on the way."
On the way. That's good.
But it's
it's like,
I haven't
okay.
had to deal with that part in particular. Somebody being like, "Oh, it's a hassle." I haven't had to deal with that. I think some people have thought that. I've had that vibe, like this person is thinking like that, but no one's ever said that to me.
Yeah,
I've
that's
got
not
that
beyond
vibe to where
petty.
I've thought it. I've thought that you're thinking that, but I didn't say anything.
I know I apologize to like people and stuff, but just like, I'm sorry, I'm a burden and stuff.
Yeah, you
Because I
guys
know
have
I felt that.
nicer terms. My first thoughts were the profane ones. um I get uh yelled at for the opposite reason. My wife gets mad at me for apologizing too much. So I'm very lucky with the people in my life. I cannot complain. Um yeah, you just have to surround yourself with people who will support you. And I know that's difficult, so I wish you the best, I guess. That's all I can say.
Really.
I
And
think like you, like your wife says, you apologize too much. I've got that from one person, and then it kind of made me act different around other people. I stopped apologizing so much, and then it just got weird. I was like, I think I should apologize to this person, but then this person tells me I apologize too much. So sometimes I get the vibe where people they're looking like, "Are you gotta apologize?" And some people are like, "Stop apologizing. You gonna get over this. It's something you got to deal with," and they understand that part. But like I said, yeah, there's some people you got to apologize sometimes, but
But
don't
that's
feel like a
part of,
burden. I
and
try not to
that's
feel
part
like
of
a
what
burden.
makes like every aspect of life a little more stressful. We have to rehearse like what we're going to say to each person before asking a favor, and then when they follow through, some actually like want a bigger gift card for Christmas, and others would, be offended and, no, you keep it. Let's get tickets to the water park and do that. Like there's definitely like some that are prone to wanting to help and others that want to just do it to save face or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so funny to me. I I'm lucky to live in Boston. I have public transportation that is specifically for disabled people, but it's not reliable for timing wise. So I do take lifts now because I'm a little more mobile than I used to be, but it's hysterical the way that people change their tune when they see that I'm disabled. So, like, if I'm struggling to find the lift, I will get a call immediately from a Lyft driver being like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And then as soon as they see that I have a cane, their their attitude just flips. And they're like, "Oh my God, can I help you? What do you need any help?" Like, oh, and they try to, do everything they can to be, as nice and you know, um, like outspoken about how helpful they want to be so that I'll give them a good review still. And it's just ridiculous
And maybe
how,
Like
so they can sleep
overcompensating.
at
yeah,
night, right? I mean, they have to go home and live with themselves too.
yeah, exactly.
Perhaps
It's
it's a
so
little of that as
ridiculous.
well, dear.
Yeah, I never thought of it about it that way, but yeah, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
We have the
uh,
Uber out here to where you can use it to go to doctor's appointments and stuff and to pharmacies. So I do use that, and yeah,
It seems like that would be the kind of thing that's like tax deductible or something. If you have income, if you can still file taxes, medical expenses should totally be able to be a write-off, especially at
It
work.
is.
yeah, I
It
don't pay
is.
medical insurance, and yeah, um, but
Yeah,
yeah.
so just not the doctor's appointments and the pharmacy trips and stuff.
Oh no, they can take me to doctor's appointments and pharmacies.
where they like
Okay.
what, but it's not always, the timing and stuff isn't always convenient, or at least my
If you
bears.
call 2 days ahead of time, they're usually
There
on
you go.
time.
Two
If
days ahead of time, sure.
Yeah, they have it on the phone when you call. They say it on the little thing. Like, if you set up your call 2 days ahead of time, you're more likely to get it on time. Yeah,
Okay.
rides the
All
same
right,
thing.
it's part of the medical
Guaranteed.
system.
Hey, at least they have it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I can't
That's
say.
supernatural. That superstition question you asked earlier was interesting. The only thing that to my mind was just like all the religious context of, actually seeing Bible verses quoted as like epilepsy is demons that have to be extracted or, whatever that word is. That's the only thing that
Drive
came to
them
mind when I was
out.
thinking about super
Drive
strength.
out
Yeah,
the demons or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, love
I
that.
remember in the book of Matthew, like Jesus curing people with epilepsy.
Oh boy.
Mm.
I think I'm glad my grandfather was already passed when I became diagnosed.
Yeah.
Has
I don't know
Well,
if
anybody
we could
something
have
had
else
done
here
the
is saying
anything.
that it was considered a sacred disease by the Greeks because they believed it was inflicted by the gods.
Right,
So
right.
apparently,
And
like
you're
back in the
receiving
day,
divine
haven't met any of the
instruction.
gods?
right?
I
These
don't know how
are
they gave it to me.
See, Katie, you and I, we could have been priestesses at a temple somewhere, giving
exactly,
out all sorts, and Reese too, giving out. And you guys could have been priests at some temple somewhere, giving out sacred information.
exactly. That's why I love this whole like Justice League theme of
Yeah,
like come up with a
come
bunch of
watch Katie and
names.
Sailor
Yeah,
Mom race.
What's that, Angel?
I said, come watch Katie and Sailor Mom race. Here's our pamphlet.
Yes, we're going to tell you your future.
right.
Uh, Releasing secrets. Anyway, we'll start over here. Has anybody had to fight for a diagnosis? I have TC and focal seizures. When I went to my neurologist for the first time, he asked about anxiety. Yes, of course, I'm anxious. I hated my job. I live with MIL, etc. Ever since then, he has been dismissing my concerns. I've even tried to show him a video of me having a seizure at work, but he was having none of that. He told me it was PNES, probably vasovagal syncope or syncope.
Syncope.
Heard that? Anyhow, and I should try to not be so anxious. Yeah, sure thing, Doc. I'll get right on that. I pushed for a
Hi,
stay at the EMU because my 2-day ambulatory EEG and MRI showed nothing. He refused for months and finally relented. I just got out a couple weeks ago. My first night there, I was made to stay awake until 3 a.m. and they held my Keppra. At 5 something in the morning, I had a seizure. My attending came in later that morning and told me that I had had an electronical seizure. When I tell you we celebrated and high fived, I'm not kidding. It's not like I am excited about being epileptic, but I do feel vindicated. He was super pissed that my neuro jumped straight to it being psychogenic issue when I mentioned anxiety and wouldn't entertain anything else. Has anybody else had to go through something similar? Not me. I was told I had epilepsy. I didn't have to fight for it. It was given.
Yeah, same here. Like, I didn't even know. I woke up in an emergency room. It's like, yeah, you had seizure.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people say that, like stuff about like having to fight for diagnosis, like Anne.
Right.
I don't understand it. Like, I guess you can't say a seizure is epilepsy because I know people who have what's it, diabetic seizures, but yeah, that's messed up.
Wow. Well, I'm glad
You
they
guys
got
just
one.
ended.
I'm glad they got one on you know record. That's it sucks. Oh, I hate that. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure it's definitely
But
more
I mean,
common
that's what
out
sows
there,
the
honestly.
distrust.
And I
That's what I
hear
mean. That's what
those.
sows the distrust for the whole medical system so early on. Is like the doctors want to eliminate everything else, and then unless you actually get seizure activity on record, it's like they'll just still assume you OD'd and didn't tell anybody.
I'm not going to say I
You
hear.
know,
I
I
read a
still
lot
get a
on
side eye
the.
for like not having a cause.
I read a lot on the epilepsy group. Like, those EMUs, just like, and I base it like towards my 23 hours stay. at a local hospital, a friend's hospital, basically, which is because I want it. Like I check myself in there, but we all know what it is. The suicidal tendency. Yeah. Um and I based it on that. It's like those EMUs sound like very similar to that type of stay. And I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, like, of course you're going to be like on anxiety and stuff in there. Or, you're afraid of having your seizure or something. I remember the first time I started seeing this, my current neurologist, like he wanted me completely off my meds and to do an EEG before I even saw him. I didn't
That's
have to
not.
do an EMU, but I had to do that,
Hmm.
and I'm like, okay,
I don't think I've had an EMU yet.
me
Actually,
neither.
I'm sure I haven't.
Is it?
Only time I spent the night at the hospital was for sleep apnea. Is that the same thing?
That's a sleep apnea study, and
Yeah.
EMU. You're talking about epilepsy monitoring unit, right?
Okay. Yeah. Never been
Where you're
there.
hooked up to the EEG and they have cameras on you and all that kind of stuff. Is that what
Yeah,
you're
it's like a
talking
video
about?
EEG.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they
I've
and
I've
they
I've been
drop your
to I've been
meds
to
and
one of
they
those.
they fool around with
But
some stuff usually. I've had to.
yeah, I've been to one of those. They had my head all hooked up and stuff. Okay. Yeah. So I've been to one, but I left because there was this one guy. It was at Stanford. So basically, they were like studying on me. But there was
Yeah.
this one guy who told me, "Oh, I'm getting paid for this," and I was like, "You're getting paid for
No.
this?" And he was like, "Yeah, this is a study they're doing." I was like, "I didn't know I'm here for a study. I thought they just asked me to come because I have epilepsy, and it was gonna show me something. Are we gonna learn something or something?" But once he told me, "No, we're here to basically be guinea pigs,"
Yeah, I would walk
Once
out of
again.
that too, probably, if they didn't tell me the truth about it. But no,
Yeah.
I think, I forget exactly how many beds they have, but it's only, it's like 4 or 6 beds on the whole unit. And
yeah,
they have a group of people like watching the cameras all the time and watching the EEG monitoring. Because a lot of times you have a seizure in your sleep, or you have the aura and you start to feel weird, and maybe you can't remember you're supposed to hit the button to tell them like this is starting now, which was my biggest problem. I would call my husband and be like, what am I supposed to do? I know I'm supposed to do something, like,
I would.
and he would be like hitting the button, and I would hit the nurse's button instead of the correct button. But it
I would
doesn't matter because
totally.
they would have come in a minute anyway. The ones where I completely, went out or went out in my sleep. That
I
was,
would totally be unconscious anyway, so I probably wouldn't be able to do
well,
that
yeah,
anyway.
they want you to do it so they know when to start watching, but they also realize that a lot of us just we don't have enough, or even enough wherewithal before you go down to know what to do. They hope you remember. But they weren't mad
Uh,
at me for forgetting. No.
That's probably more for study purposes. I doubt they seriously had any expectations that you were going to hit the right button, like
Yeah, I
in
know. Well,
immediate post-sickle state. No, come on. That's
even
more
the
for
second
study
time
purposes to
around.
see if like 1 in a million would.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even the second time around, years
Once they
later.
told me about pressing the button, I called my mom and I was like, "Can you stay with me?" And she stayed with me, and Yeah, and that was I stayed my first night by myself, and then it didn't happen. Then I called my mom, and she brought me some real food. And
Oh, nice.
they were like, "You could have brought
Oh,
your
yeah.
PlayStation." People bring PlayStations and DVD players and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that."
Wow.
But
I wasn't
Okay.
conscious enough to even really look
like
at
I said,
them.
there was this one guy I don't know. I think I stepped out in the hallway, and he was stepping out in the hallway too. We're both like looking out our doors and connected to the machines or whatever. And I was talking to him, and I asked him, "Did he have epilepsy?" He said, "Yeah." And then that's when he started talking about getting paid for it, and this is a study. And I was like, "A study?" He was like, "Yeah, this is a study. I'm getting paid for them to do research." He's like, "What are you here for?" I want to be here for the same reason you're here for if we're doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm out of here." It's like, "Mom, time to go. I ate the
Mm-hmm.
food. We can leave. I'm not staying." I told them, "Can you take the stuff off my head?" They begged me to stay. They did everything they could to try to make me have a seizure before I left. They did
Okay.
the flashing lights, the strobe lights. They were trying so hard to make me have a seizure.
I
They were like, "We
remember
need you to
that.
stay. We need you to stay." And I was like, "Uber is on the way. You gotta hurry up because
Mm.
I remember
Uber on the
that when I
way."
was a teen. They did the strobe light tests and all that stuff. But that was a different hospital, and it was no EMU. So
Really?
yeah,
Is it when they try to make you have a seizure, they show a strobe light?
They'll
It's,
yeah,
try that.
It was
they'll try
huge. It
that.
was
They'll
like this
try all
big.
these other tests. It's like they couldn't get it to trigger.
Mhm.
well, I don't know. So sorry for laughing. It's just, like,
It's all
No.
right.
uh,
No, it's for
like,
real. Picture like that big selfie, like one of those really fancy selfie sticks with like a huge ring of a light that's, and picture that, but people are holding it on purpose, trying to
like that
induce a
does
seizure.
seem.
Imagine,
It's like that the
imagine,
oldest stereotype in the book, like a strobe
Right.
light.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
imagine the light at the dentist. You know, the one they have like from the ceiling.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Except, except it wasn't on the ceiling. They brought it in on a cart to do it,
Yeah.
and that's how big it was. And it was
Wow.
like, look in the middle, look at it. It's flashing. I was like, thinking it's funny.
Put
Close
some
your eyes.
music on and get a dance party going, Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
once
start
they
my
tell you,
playlist.
Yeah.
tell you close your eyes and do it, and open your eyes and do it. It didn't work. By then, I was already dressed. Uber was 3 minutes away. I was like, "You guys, I gotta
Mhm.
go. Gotta get downstairs and all that." Didn't happen.
Yeah.
yeah. I think
So
No
has
one ever
anybody
went.
ever been
one of that
part of a
trigger
clinical
for
trial?
me.
I got somebody calling me on Monday for a paid clinical trial opportunity, and
See, what can I
yeah, I
be
don't know
part
what
of
to look
for
out for.
paid clinical trial?
I have
And
not.
it's a 50-50. I might think I might get the placebo. So
What's that?
the like a water pill, something that's not the real drug.
So
You'll get
they're gonna take you off your meds and put you on either the placebo or their new drug. Is that what's
Well, that's the
happening?
part that's definitely going to be the point of the call on Monday, is to determine all of the specifics. One of the questions before being able to schedule the call was um, if you're taking other anti-seizure medications. So, I mean, I took apparently the study is aware that if you're on other medications, you still qualify. I don't want to say opportunistic, but you know, after you feel like you've already tried every other option,
Yeah.
why not get paid for something? If I have a
Yeah.
chance to earn
I'm
enough
not
income
sure.
to be able to claim the kids this year, then hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was just like, I'm not getting paid, and he is. And y'all doing
Yeah.
something that somebody didn't tell me. I started thinking all kinds of stuff. I started thinking maybe somebody else is getting paid for my study. My head was all over the place. It was like
Maybe
somebody,
your
I'm staying
doctor's
Exactly.
here, and
getting
somebody
paid
else
for
gets
it,
paid.
for referring you. Who
I don't know.
knows?
Hmm.
Don't these
yeah.
studies seem like short-sighted? And I mean, they're just testing basically new drug. Shouldn't they be testing the efficacy of drugs on certain types of seizures? I mean, because I mean, I would like to see more tests, long-term tests on that. I mean, because they're not. I mean, we all have different kinds of seizures, basically. Sort of. I mean, you know what I mean. But I
Yeah,
would
but
like
I'm
to see.
looking, that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to like recording this call is because I'm going to ask this, hopefully not salesperson that calls me, like hopefully it's somebody with some clinical knowledge, what class of medication is this? Are
Mhm.
you, how far back do your, clinical trials go? Is this a second or a third round or, what types of epilepsy? Again, is this more of a, not, never having been pregnant kind of thing? Like what the females basically, like how,
Mhm.
what age range is like the most, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get to the bottom of it before I make any
Is it
decisions.
is it a drug that's in the same family as one that already exists?
Exactly.
Things like that, right? Yeah. It's
Yeah,
the
and I'm
stuff
still
I
just
would
I'm
ask
still
too.
gonna pray for the placebo because I know taking a new drug probably isn't gonna have, any kind of miracle effect at this point.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh.
Hey, every penny
Back
counts.
into a
I'm cool.
corner, right?
So
Yeah, we'll
I
see what
got
they say.
something here. It says 12-year-old having 10 to 20
No.
aware focal seizures a day.
Oh.
This this is a kind of follow-up on my last post. My 12-year-old brother-in-law developed epilepsy at puberty due to having two brain bleeds at birth. He also has Asperger's. Um,
Okay.
it started with absent seizures, moved on to aware focal seizures. After the past 6 months of medication and him growing up, now he's on his second medication trial, but is still having 10 to 30 a day, 10 to 20 a day, sometimes 30, that we've been able to count. Most last 10 to 20 seconds, however, rarely it can be. Once it was 3 minutes. He was able to walk, can hear us, but not talk. He's had a sleep deprivation, ECG, and it caught a seizure that lasted 24 seconds. However, he didn't display it, so the epilepsy nurse has said that it's likely having the normal 10 to 20, then maybe another 20 to 40 that he doesn't show. However, what is confusing us is that in the first ECG, this also happened. And she told us that it was his brain delaying a seizure for later. The system at the hospital is a joke. Has anyone Does anyone have any advice? It just feels like we're running around in circles with no end to the battle despite his improvements. He hasn't collapsed in 4 months and has much less cluster seizures, but he has had a few tonic-clonics weeks apart from each other. We've also had an aura. We've also had an aura seizures, and that they can be picked up on the ECG, but it's honestly so confusing. I want to add in this ECG, he felt he was unwell. He had been up all night as told to and was on the wrong dosage. So we don't know if it was a fair test or not. However, still feeling like we've been led astray.
That's how everybody feels because they have to get it on record. You have to try the plethora of meds until you find the right cocktail. But on top of this, at puberty, that's what makes this one a little more heart-wrenching because like that many seizures a day, your day is gone. There's no way they're gonna have any comprehension of like what happened that day or into the night. And Asperger's, the reason that sounded familiar is because that's what they used to call ADHD. Autism, sorry, autism spectrum disorder, ASD. So it's I can feel the runaround because a lot of times they do try to just blame it on something else. But
Yeah.
again, it's something we all have to try to do. Find the right doctor who's actually going to try to treat what you have.
He's just daydreaming. Yeah.
Ugh, I hate
Like,
I got something
That's
here that says, oh, that's a long one. You gotta learn that.
and for somebody that young, the people who know that patient best are probably going to be able to pick up on a seizure before a medical professional,
that.
just
Yeah, I
by
got
noticing a
something.
different facial expression or anything.
This one I will need opinions on, and it's very long. It said, this will be a long one, but I'm feeling so confused and scared. Any response will be appreciated. My son is 15 years old, was diagnosed with focal epilepsy 2 years ago. He has only had a total of 6 convulsive seizures in that time. He has been on 2 different meds, Keppra until January of last year, and oxycarbazine since then. Last month, he randomly had just the aura he gets right before the seizure starts, but it never continued into convulsive seizures like it normally does. When I reported this event to the neurologist, and the nurse that called me back told me that the doctor said it sounds like he had a seizure. Let's increase the oxycarb. So we did. He had this biannual appointment that same week. So naturally, we discussed the aura event. Only during the appointment, the doctor said we would not be considering any future auras to be oh, to be seizures unless they came before a convulsive seizure, partly because we couldn't be sure. I'm sorry, you guys. I gotta put this charger in because it said that 10 minutes ago. I did not.
That's okay.
I
You go for
ignored it.
it. Oh,
I
I've got
forgot
him.
it
He's in
said
my
battery dying.
basket. Oh, well, he's about to run over and look at you now because you made noise.
All right, back to it. Where did I leave off? Okay. Only during the doctor appointment, the doctor said we would not be considering future auras to be seizures unless they came before the convulsive seizure, partly because we couldn't be sure if it was truly an aura event or if it was just him having anxiety about having a seizure. And because of that, we don't want to max him out on his meds increasing unnecessarily. This made sense in the moment, but now I'm struggling to understand. My son is autistic, but he is very familiar with what feeling he gets before a seizure and is more capable of saying for sure that what he feels during the aura seizure is exactly what he feels before a convulsive seizure. But I was told basically to just ignore it and that I don't need to report it as an event if it happens unless followed by convulsive seizure. Convulsive seizure. Well, it happened again today at school. Just the aura, no convulsive seizures. Teacher described it the exact same behavior he has right before a convulsive seizure starts. Down to how long it usually lasts. This is an anxiety. I know my son. I did end up sending an email explaining what happened and asking a few questions. Is this normal for focal epilepsy? If this continues, could this be an indication that his meds aren't working at the dose since the aura is technically a type of seizure? Could this mean that a breakthrough focal to bilateral seizure is imminent? I haven't heard back, which has never happened. He had a convulsive seizure the past Saturday, which due to a missed dose of his meds for the first time ever. So maybe I'm still raw and scared about it. But in mind, he had a seizure at school today. Just because there was no convulsions doesn't mean it wasn't a seizure, right? He had two aura events in a month. Ignoring that feels so wrong to me. I feel like the doctor was getting frustrated with me during the appointment, and now that it happened again and I haven't heard back, I feel stupid for making a big deal about it. But it doesn't feel right to me. I'm scared. Does anyone with focal epilepsy that usually has focal to bilateral tonic-clonic seizures ever just have aura focal seizures? That was then. Does anybody? I don't have bilateral tonic-clonic. I mean, like I said, I'm not educated a lot about what I have, so I don't even know what the bilateral tonic-clonic or any of that. I need to
That just
talk to
means
my
having focal
neurologist.
points on both parts of, both hemispheres, like where basically like where the seizure's starting. They had to determine bilateral to usually say like where they're gonna put the electrodes if when you get the brain, when you get the implants.
Yeah,
If they're gonna go on
and
both sides or one side, or if they're gonna be surface, or if they're gonna be deep, like the rods that have to go deeper because some of the focal points are closer to like the hippocampus or like somewhere deeper in your brain.
yeah, Ann told me I'm like focal to bilateral, but that's the way the doctor, my first neurologist, described it to me. It starts on my left,
Hmm.
and it's like a thunderstorm going all over to my right.
And
So
the
back to the
aura
post though,
is
they should never feel bad.
the
Never, ever
aura
be
is
ashamed.
like where it starts,
Yeah,
right, Angel? They told you like the aura is you're having the seizure already on that side where it's starting, and it may go everywhere, or it
I
might
don't know
just
when it's starting.
no, you never have auras. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, I never.
Well,
I'm already unconscious. If anything, you know, if
it
an
can
aura
happen.
started.
It can happen to me, but sometimes I'll have enough time to get an aura and recognize it. Occasionally, I can get
If
med and it will stop. Like, so that means it doesn't go full thunderstorm. It just does the one side. But
if
yeah,
I'm too if I'm too dizzy or something feels off, I'm taking like my precaution state. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. The rescue med to try to keep it from, and then you
well,
get down low.
my precaution state is like I'm like when I was working, I wake up, I woke up dizzy. Okay. Let's see if I can shake it off. If
Hmm.
it goes away,
Hmm.
no, I'm still dizzy after like a whole half hour. Okay, I'm calling out.
Yeah, I got it for sure. Yeah. Okay, well, let's see. So, what do you guys think about this situation? Do you
Uh-oh.
think?
I had a funny thought before I forget. I was thinking about the EMU, and I was thinking like, since my seizures have been different lately, getting up and wandering away. What if I got up and wandered away with the thing on my head? I'm sorry, that was funny to me.
You could try, but it would send the machine into absolute panic. It would start, if you got the things pulled out, like, and started walking, it would start making all kinds of screaming
Oh yeah.
noises. People would be running after you. Hopefully, they would get to you before you got to the elevator.
Or your
Yeah, I
house.
can only imagine like getting up and walking away because I don't know what I look like, and it's happened, and I don't know why people just let me walk, and I couldn't imagine what I looked like during that. So, or what I would do to someone if they tried to stop me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I've, and somebody contacted me as a doctoral student looking for parents of epilepsy patients that would fill out surveys for them. And I just contacted him back and said, I am not a parent of, but if you are interested in finding parents of patients, to do a survey like that, you could always join our podcast, and we'd love to see someone with a clinical background, even if it's just a doctoral student, we'd like to talk to you, and I'm sure we could hook you up with somebody. Because I know we had Rachel's mom, right, on here, and I'm sure she would love to fill out a survey. She's obviously done lots of things
She
over
said she's gonna
Rachel's
come on Tuesday.
lifetime, right? So, I'm sorry, what?
She's gonna come on Tuesday. She said.
Oh, good, good. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyway, so if anybody gets contacted by somebody, a doctoral student, I can't remember their exact name right now. I did, say that we would be happy to hear from them. I don't know. I hope that's okay. I don't know.
We'll get banned if it's not. We'll see.
Mhm.
Well,
No,
I
my
mean,
daughter is the one. She's like teaching me about getting banned and all this, like comparing to
getting
Discord.
banned
I
for
did not think it was that
inviting
big
a
of a
doctoral
deal.
student to come talk to us. That would be
It
terrible, wouldn't it? I would
apparently it's just
really.
like anything that's for personal marketing. It's a really broad umbrella term, I guess, that they use as a rule on here, but it's like worse than the gamer ones for real.
Oh. Well, I was just saying if you want to come
Wow.
and talk to people, you
What
know,
about a personal chat? Like,
yeah, like, you could come and talk to us on the personal chat if
So far, so good here. I sent out like 5 of those today.
hey, we'll see. I'm sorry. I guess I'll get banned or something. I'm sorry, Pookie, if that happens.
Don't do that. We need
No,
you
I'm
guys to
not
not be
trying to.
banned.
No, I really wasn't. I didn't say anything,
That sounded like
crazy or
marketing. We're
over the
not
top. I
selling
just
anything.
explained that I wasn't the person that they needed to fill their survey, and that I had no problem with them or their survey, but they should.
Well, I mean, to a lot of people in the epilepsy groups too, the some of the comments get harsh. I mean, I'm reading this one right now. 27 male started to experience impacts of it. Pookie, I'm not stepping on your toes here, I promise.
Go ahead.
But not gonna lie, it's making me upset. I like tailgating and getting drunk with family and friends at sporting events, going out and do fun drunk shit, having a few glasses of wine while cooking and eating dinner. I like fine dining and getting nice cocktails. I'm not even an alcoholic, just not ready to give it up yet. How did you do it? And please don't come to me with the alcohol is overrated and I don't need it to have fun BS. We call it immature. I don't care. Life's been hard for me lately, and I wish I had some hope that the rest of my life isn't going to have to be bland. So obviously, that's a post that sounds like they got a lot going on. But what I'm surprised about is the first response is saying somebody saying, "You sound like an alcoholic," to be honest. So again,
That's
in the
kind of
epilepsy
mean.
chat, it's a lot more straightforward answers like that. And when I respond or send a message to somebody, I'm always pushing like a support, you know, vibe
Mhm.
for Epilepsy Universe
That is
because
not
that's
supportive over there.
no,
Mm-mm.
That is a
that's the
no
point.
judgment zone, or
yeah.
Exactly. That's the biggest difference. The epilepsy world, their chat or whatever that's called, subreddit, is a lot more straightforward, like harsh responses.